Hi, this is just a little bit of a reflection. I'll try and keep it brief on some of the comments we've had about the wildflower meadow and the pear orchard in development. The last video I put up, in which Julia demonstrated her vastly superior knowledge of wildflowers over and above mine. It's something I keep wanting to do, is spend some time. We've got a nice week away in a very quiet part of the United Kingdom coming up soon, and I think I may take a book of wildflowers away with me and see what I can learn. But anyhow, just reflecting back on that wildflower meadow where I've planted up these pears, is what we call the peace orchard. I don't want to say too much about what's actually happening there, but just a reflection on the fact that it's 18 years since we bought that piece of land. It was always a bigger piece of land than we wanted, but it was what we could get. That's a long story. I've mentioned it elsewhere on the fruitwise.net website. It's a long, complicated story, but anyway, we began by planting up one orchard and fencing that in to keep the rabbits and the deer out. And in the area where the peace orchard now is, I used to hunt rabbits over pasture with my air rifle, and a friend of ours who lived near there used to keep his horses and cattle there. In fact, he had a relationship with the owner of the land and had he had rented the grazing off of and we didn't like to kick him out. That would have seemed wrong, so he carried on. We didn't charge him any rent, but he kept an eye on the land anyway when we weren't there very much. But in any event, I planted up some pears. I did originally have this idea back in 92, 93 when we first bought a piece of land, and I planted 4 pears down there, but I didn't protect them sufficiently, and anyway Bert's horses destroyed them. Of course we got upset with him about that. Okay, it was a miscalculation, but looking back, I just put these because we're quite determined now. We've thought this through and we've learned a lot, and we realised the value of pears. I remember when we used to go to visit relatives in Shropshire country. We went up there once in springtime as we were driving around the country. I said, "Oh, what's that marvellous tree over there? An enormous, huge, white tree." And it was a pear, and these trees, they take 100 years to grow, 100 years to fruit, and then 100 years to die. They live for many years anyway. There were some good YouTube videos of a Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall using this panking pole to shake the it's like an overextended billiard cue rest, to shake the pears down. And it used to be a very famous drink, and as good as or superior to a lot of imported wine for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's really traditional, but good pear, it's very hard to find. And anyway, having more land than we can actively, seriously cultivate for apples, and this piece of land here, stuff was dumped on it. It's a funny old story. A friend of ours excavated some land, had a load of clay that to get rid of. So can we come and dump our clay out here? And that was not necessarily a great idea. But it may have improved the soil eventually, and it was left to grow wild. We've got oak coming up, we've got hazel coming up, elder coming up, and I finally settled on this idea a couple of years ago that I would plant pears on seedling rootstock. Seedling pear rootstock is the biggest rootstock of the lot, and it will grow into trees as tall as my house. But it may take years to do that. But I'm just reflecting on the fact, and this is something I thought about occasionally. I don't like borrowing money. Okay, I borrowed money to buy the house that I'm in now and the house I lived in before. I've paid it all off now. I believe in being debt free, and I don't want to go into the politics there, but I do think it's worth borrowing money to plant trees. I think borrowing money to invest in something really important for the future is good. And when I look back, I think if I'd had a clearer head, and this is one of the reasons for this is what I really want to say in this little video log, that if I could think back, if I could send a message back to me 18 years ago, rather than saying, "Steve, don't give up the cycling and don't allow yourself to go up to 18 stone," I'd have said a few other things to myself for sure, yeah. But one of the things I'd have said to myself is, "Stephen, here you are in 1993, 1994, just think how marvellous this place will look with tall, young, growing, strong pear rootstocks. Borrow. Okay, you might be short money. Borrow a few £100 if it's necessary. Fence them off to keep the animals away from them. Let them grow. Just think how marvellous they'll look in 15 years. Anyway, here I am, 55 years of age. The Lord knows how long I have to live, and and I've planted these tiny little baby Perry pears and seedling rootstocks. I'm going to graft over the Perry pears, and I hope to live to see those trees 30-40 feet tall. In fact, I have got a Perry pear tree that is about 30 feet tall, and that's down in the coppice, but it was planted in the wrong place. It doesn't get the sun, doesn't get the light, so we're just growing on for timber now. Makes very good knife handles if Mr. Cutlery Lover or Mr. Madman Voodoo, our other knife enthusiasts, are out there. Pear wood makes, by all accounts, very good as a Gerber folding knife. Really quite high quality pear wood on it. So we're growing that on for pear wood. But looking at the size of it, I thought, oh, if only I'd looked after the other trees that I planted around the same time. Now I'd be able to go walking underneath Perry trees that are 4 and 5 times taller than I am, with a massive show of blossom, and maybe we'd be getting a really serious amount of Perry. But I don't think there's any Perry orchards anywhere in Hampshire. There are precious few cider orchards. Anyway, the point of all this, and please excuse my attire, I've had a long day. I've driven to Swindon, done some teaching, driven back again. I've just spent an hour and a half dealing with work-related emails. And you know, Julie's nagging me to go fishing tomorrow, which she knows I need to do, but I haven't got my fishing tackle ready. I've had too much medical work and teaching to do. But anyway, just thought I'd mention that if anyone's still listening. If you think about, you know, if you're young enough, in other words, you know, if you're actually, you know, reasonably fit, certainly if you're under 50, and you have a piece of land, do think about what the trees, whether you know, it's pear trees, fruit trees of any kind, oaks, you know, tall standard cherries, ash trees. Think about, if you've got a piece of land, think about what it will look like in 15 years' time if you plant trees now and look after them. And I'll tell you, if you can get away with it, if you can deal with the problems, it'll look absolutely wonderful. So do think about doing it. I'm not an eco-fanatic. I am not a climate change denier. I tend to sit in the middle. I do believe that the planet needs a lot of tender loving care, and there's very few things you can do that's really more worth doing than planting some trees. There's benefits all round from planting trees, whatever your worldview is, whether you're a Christian like me, or you're an atheist, or a Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever sort of person you might be, you've got to admit it must be worth planting trees and looking after them. And I'm just reflecting now on the trees I planted years ago, and I'm reflecting back on trees I wish I had planted years ago. Anyway, just a thought. I hope it's not too rambling. Kind regards.